Bills enter the season as outright favorites to win the Super Bowl for the first time since 1991. Meantime, the defending Super Bowl champs are 19-3 in Week 1 since 2000. The Rams are even better than that, a perfect 5-0 straight up and against the spread in Week 1 games under Sean McVay. Let's welcome in CBS Sports NFL writer Tyler Sullivan and Sportsline senior analyst Larry Hartstein. Bills are 2.5-point favorites. Total's 52. As I mentioned, the Rams are a perfect 5-0 straight up and ATS in Week 1 games under Sean McVay. Larry, is the trend our friend?
In this case, I think it is. The Bills are deserving Super Bowl favorites, but should they be laying points on the road at the Super Bowl champs, given the record that you just showed with Sean McVay and all the time he has to prepare? The concern was about Matthew Stafford, but for Week 1, his arm appears to be fine. You know, they didn't keep Von Miller, but they used that money to get Allen Robinson, who should be a tremendous replacement for OBJ, and Bobby Wagner to help that linebacking core. This is going to be a high-paced, fast-paced, entertaining shootout that I can't wait to watch. This is not a strong play for me, but I will lean with the points.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the defending champs are getting disrespected a little bit. I mean, as much as we love the Buffalo Bills, they're the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl and all of that, this is still a Super Bowl caliber team in the Los Angeles Rams that are getting points at home. I'll gladly take the 2.5 here. And you talk about trends. You go back to Super Bowl 34. From then till now, the defending champs in Week 1 are 13-6-2 against the spread. That's also 18-3 straight up. So when you look at that and you account for obviously Sean McVay's tremendous record in Week 1, I don't know how you fade the Los Angeles Rams here. As much as I like the Bills, the Rams here are getting points. I don't know how you look away from that.
All right, Rams getting disrespected here, they say. But let's talk some game props. Last season, the Rams scored first in 13 games, so it's not surprising that wideout Cooper Kupp is the favorite to cross into the end zone first. At plus 600, running backs Cam Akers and Devin Singletary are tied at plus 850. The list goes on from there. Larry, which player do you feel is the best bet to score the first touchdown?
Katie, this is a fun bet. You can't take Cooper Kupp on this bet. You got to go further down the list. And I got two Rams that I absolutely love. And one is Allen Robinson. Because of all the attention that Cooper Kupp is going to get, they're going to have to bracket him. Allen Robinson, this is a coming out party. He finally gets to play with a real quarterback. He's 6'2". He's a good red zone target. We know he's great at contested catches. 67 contested catches his last 4 years in Chicago. But even further down the list, 40-1. You know, Van Jefferson is out for this game. Ben Skowronek, the number 3 wideout for the Rams, and the Rams mainly go with 3 wideouts. They don't play 2 tight ends. They don't play 2 running backs. And Skowronek this week, compared by his OC to Robert Woods, he's 6'2", he's 225. We could see a case where 2 rookies in the Buffalo secondary, they busted coverage, and it's Ben Skowronek breaking free for that first touchdown at 40-1.
I love all of those picks there, Larry. And obviously, you look for value. You look for those long shots with a prop like this. It's tough to go Cooper Kupp at such short money there. For me, though, as much as I want to go over 10-1 odds, there's a 9-1 that's really circling me, and it's Josh Allen to score the first touchdown in this game. Obviously, you know, the Rams, they score first, or, you know, more often than not. But if Buffalo gets the ball to start and they get into the red zone, it's Josh Allen's number that gets called more often than not. Last year, he had 30 red zone carries. And just to put that in perspective, Devin Singletary had 38. So it's not like there is a guy there that is getting so much more carries in the red zone than Josh Allen. He is their guy when they get into the red zone, obviously throwing the ball, but whenever they want to throw it, whether it's Brian Daboll or Ken Dorsey, the new offensive coordinator, I don't think that that's going to change in terms of the play calling Josh Allen's number to run for a touchdown here. I like 9-1 is good value for him.
Matthew Stafford at plus 3,000 or 30-1 here to score the first touchdown of the NFL season. He played through right elbow pain last season, said going into this year, there are no limitations. Larry, what's your top Matthew Stafford prop on opening night?
I'm going to look at touchdowns. The Rams don't run the ball well. Last season, Matthew Stafford threw 41 touchdowns. The team as a whole ran for 10. Sony Michel had 4 of those. He's gone. The Rams can't run the ball. Losing Whitworth and Corbett on the offensive line probably isn't going to increase their running efficiency. And Stafford, you said it, the arm is fine. This is going to be a shootout. I mean, we're talking a game that should get around 50 points, maybe high 50s. 2 of those touchdowns have got to come from Matthew Stafford's arm.
Yeah, I like Stafford to be throwing touchdowns. I just don't know if he's going to throw that much. That's why I like the under here 36.5 pass attempts for him. For me, obviously the elbow injury is well documented. I don't know if it's going to have that much of an impact in this game. It's week 1. He should be fresh. So again, I don't know if it's going to play that much of a factor. Maybe they do watch it. Who knows? But for me, as much as they don't run the football effectively, or at least they haven't in the past, this is a different year now. Cam Akers is healthy. Darrell Henderson is healthy. Sean McVay does want to have a more balanced attack here. So while this could turn into a high-flying affair because that total is hovering around 50 points, I do think that Stafford has managed a little bit throwing the football. You look at the last year, he only had 35 passing attempts per game, and that continued into the postseason. Obviously, regular season was around 35.6. When you go into the postseason, it was pretty much a flat 35. So if you still go to his averages last year, you're going under this total, and I think it's going to be a little bit more run balance for this team in this game, so that's why I go under.
All right, when we're looking at Matthew Stafford props here, one of my favorites actually is to take him over his interceptions. While he's great at a lot of things, he's also good for about 1 pick per game. He tied Trevor Lawrence last year with 17. All right, moving on. Stafford's favorite target and the 2021 Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp. His reception prop is set to 7.5. The Rams attempted a pass on 60% of plays last year. However, Stafford's elbow might require some load management, which you guys have talked about tonight. That and RB1 Cam Akers is healthy again. Tyler, is it reasonable to assume that the Rams may balance the offense more and thus Kupp goes under this prop?
I mean, if I'm going under on Stafford's pass attempts, then I probably have to go under here for Cooper Kupp's receptions, right? So that's what I'm going with. I'll go under here, and not only do I think it's going to be a little bit more balanced in terms of their running game and managing Stafford, but I do think that they want to get Allen Robinson going, too. I mean, let's not ignore his talent on the other side of the field. You got to remember, the Rams, they don't play guys in the preseason. Their starters don't see time. Sure, they had some joint practices with the Cincinnati Bengals, and they have training camp and all of that, but the in-game reps for Matthew Stafford and Allen Robinson haven't been there just yet. I wonder if they try to get a rapport going quickly in this game, which again will eat into Cooper Kupp's efficiency in this game. I still think he'll be a great option for fantasy and all that stuff, but in terms of getting over that 7.5, I feel like Allen Robinson's going to cannibalize that a little bit.
Tyler, I think you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable on Thursday night holding an under ticket on the Super Bowl MVP, going up against a Buffalo secondary that doesn't have Tre'Davious White. We've got Taron Johnson, a very good slot corner. After that, you got Dane Jackson, 7th-round pick from 3 years ago. You got 2 rookies. So in Cooper Kupp, we know even if they double him, this guy gets open. He went over this number 13 times out of 21 games last season. In fact, all 3 playoff games except for the blowout against the Cardinals when they didn't need him. I'd rather have a Cooper Kupp ticket over, especially at plus money.
All right, so you guys disagree there. Over under on Cooper Kupp. Maybe you can do a little side wager as well. All right, let's move on to the Buffalo Bills starting quarterback Josh Allen, who came up short against the Chiefs in the divisional round. He was awesome in the playoffs, 9 touchdowns, no picks in 2 games. Tyler, what's your top Josh Allen prop on opening night?
Yeah, I'm going to go over his pass attempts, 35.5. And if you look at the Buffalo Bills historically, they love to throw the football. Dating back to 2020, they throw the ball 57% of the time. And when you look at Josh Allen over the course of that stretch during the regular season, he's averaging basically 37 pass attempts per game. And again, when you're looking at a game like this where the total is over 50, we expect it to be high flying. I don't know how you kind of fade Josh Allen here. Yes, maybe they run the ball a little bit more with Zach Moss, who had a good preseason, Devin Singletary. James Cook is now in that backfield. Obviously, I like him for first touchdown, so he's probably going to get some rushing attempts in the red zone that I predict. But let's be real. This is a pass-first offense. Going to be one of the more pass-happy offenses in the NFL this season. I know that obviously the change from Brian Daboll to Ken Dorsey is something to kind of keep an eye on, but I don't think it's going to change the philosophy all too much. This is going to be a very pass-happy team, and you'll see that in week 1.
Tyler talked earlier about how lethal Josh Allen is as a runner, and you have to believe that. I mean, 6.3 yards a carry, 763 yards, such a weapon that you can't defend against. But the coach Sean McDermott said we need to evolve. We basically said we have to protect Josh Allen and not run him as much, even though he's 6'5", 237 and can take a hit. This is a Super Bowl team, and you want to protect your Super Bowl quarterback. So I'm going to take him at his word. I'm going to say he runs in maybe a few high leverage situations, like Tyler said, maybe down at the goal line. But I'll go under 6.5 rushes.
All right, let's take a look back at Larry and Tyler's selections for opening night night in the NFL, both on the Rams. The trend is our friend. Again, the Rams a perfect 5-0 straight up and ATS in Week 1 games under Sean McVay. First touchdown scorer going Josh Allen. Larry's looking for Allen Robinson, Ben Skowronek. I like it. Some long odds there. I like that. That's some great value. Top Matthew Stafford prop. Tyler's going under 36.5 pass attempts. Larry says, give me 2 touchdown passes. That's going to hit the over there. Cooper Kupp, they're on opposite sides here. Under 7.5 receptions for Tyler, over 7.5 receptions for Larry. Remember what the season he had last season was incredible. Offensive player of the year. And the top Josh Allen prop. Tyler says over 35.5 pass attempts. Larry says under 6.5 rushing attempts on opening night in LA.
All right, Hakeem, a wise man once said, you can never bet too much on opening night of NFL, and I tend to agree on this one. We're all on a quest for a big payday, so Larry, what picks have you strung together for a fun same-game parlay?
Okay, well, it's going to be high scoring. It's going to be a shootout. We have perfect indoor weather conditions, and I think this is going to be over 43.5 is a sure bet. That's an alternate total for the same game parlay. You can move the total as much as you want. I moved it down about 9 points, 44 points. That shouldn't be a problem. Matthew Stafford over 1.5 passing TDs. We talked about it. When the Rams score, they throw it. 41 TDs through the air last season. That's over 2 a game and only 10 on the ground. And then the third guy, I just love Isaiah McKenzie. This is a breakout guy. Cole Beasley is gone. They brought in Jamison Crowder, and Isaiah McKenzie just flat beat him out. They raved about him every day. They said this guy has dominated camp. He had 11 catches in 1 game last season when he got a chance against the Patriots. So he's going to be in the slot catching a ton of passes from the Bills. So wrap it all together. It pays plus 310.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on Isaiah McKenzie. I was at that game in Foxborough last year, and he really opened eyes and got me really excited for what could happen this season. I've basically drafted him everywhere that I possibly can in the later rounds of fantasy football, and he's part of my 2-leg parlay in this game on Thursday night. Again, same thing, over 3.5 receptions. You look at what Cole Beasley had, over 100 targets last season, averaged 7 targets per game with Josh Allen last year. If Isaiah McKenzie is going into that role, that is plenty of volume in a high-passing offense in a game that is projected to be very high-scoring. So again, love Isaiah McKenzie for the season. Love him as a part of this parlay in this game tonight. And the second leg for me is Darrell Henderson, over 29.5 rushing yards. You look at how this backfield is kind of shaping out for the Los Angeles Rams. Cam Akers was supposedly going to be the guy going into last season, obviously had the Achilles injury, and now it feels a little bit more 1A, 1B to me. And if they're starting to split carries and this is more of a shared backfield, that's not a huge number for Darrell Henderson to go over. Again, passing game might kind of take over here a little bit more. It might kind of eat into this. But for me, that's low enough number that I don't think it's that risky for Henderson. And when you combine all that, it's a nice plus 360 for you.
Thanks, guys. Let's take a recap here of these same-game parlays. And look, people, if you like money, and let's face it, if you're watching this show, we think that you do, take a picture, write this down. You're not going to want to sleep on them. Tyler with a 2-legger getting you all the way up to plus 360 odds. Larry opting for 3 legs here, a little diversification. He's taken a total and a couple prop bets, player prop bets, and he's going to get you to plus 310. Don't sleep.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.